Hi everybody, welcome to Unacademy Economic Term of the Day. I am Ramesh Singh. Through this channel, with the help of a short video, my aim is to familiarize you with one term of economics at a time. Aim is in the flood of information on a particular term, giving you to the point idea, exam oriented idea of a term which has been in news right now. The term for today's session is basically twin deficit. Okay? Twin deficit. Let's begin our discussion. What is exactly twin deficit? And twin deficit is a very popular term belonging to economic management. Okay? Twin deficit basically, in right sense, it is used. It is used to mean two deficits. And what these two deficits are? First is basically fiscal. Fiscal deficit. And second is current. Current account. Current account deficit. That is shortly known as CAP. Clear? When we use, when we mean, when when we mean both of them, both of them together, we use the term, we use the term twin deficit. Did you understand? When an expert says twin deficit of India is increasing very fast, twin deficit of India is becoming unsustainable. It means financially unsustainable. What these experts mean? They mean either both of the deficits are rising, or at least combined deficit of India is rising. Clear? So twin deficit means both of the deficits, fiscal deficit as well as current account deficit. Why twin deficit should be manageable? Why it should be sustainable? And what constitutes twin deficit? Either fiscal deficit or current account deficit. Let us try to understand. When you say fiscal deficit, fiscal deficit, fiscal deficit is basically a deficit which comes into being. This comes into being once a government spends more than its income. This is fiscal deficit. Suppose total income of a government is Rs 100 and government's total spendings are going to be Rs 125. Here you see a deficit of Rs 25, because with lower income, higher spendings are not possible. This 25 rupees must be mobilized by government either by printing it, by borrowing from inside the economy or from outside the economy. This is fiscal deficit. Fiscal deficit is shown in terms of volume and it can be shown as percentage of the GDP of the year also. This is in value term and this is in percentage terms. Clear? So there are two ways how fiscal deficit are shown in volume term or value term. This is value and volume. And another way is using percentage of GDP. Clear? For every country, only a particular level of fiscal deficit is considered sustainable. For example, for government of India and Indian economy, it is prescribed to be 4.5% of our GDP right now, according to 15th Finance Commission. How much fiscal deficit India can sustain? It can sustain from government of India point of view not more than 4.5% of the GDP of the particular year. For ongoing financial year, that is 2022-2023, government has targeted a fiscal deficit of 6.4%. That is around 2% higher than sustainable limit. Okay. Now coming to current account deficit. Okay. Current account deficit. To the extent current account deficit is concerned, what exactly it is? Actually, it is the deficit. It is the deficit India's in India's current account. And current account of every country maintained by central bank of the country on behalf of the nation and government. In India, it is maintained by RBI. What are consistent in current account? The current account includes basically inflows, inflows and outflows. Outflows due to foreign trade, interests, private remittances, private remittances and grants. These are the items which are mentioned in current account of a country. But what happens ultimately if inflows, this is actually if, let me rewrite it. If inflows, if inflows are lower, lower than the outflows in a particular year, this creates a deficit. For example, suppose कि inflows in current account were American dollar 100 and outflows are going to be dollar 125. You see here a clear case of $25 as deficit. The exports we do, they are inflows. The imports we do, they are outflows. Clear? Ab, how much how much current account deficit India can sustain? Okay? As per the RBI, at present, India can sustain current account deficit of 2.00 to 3% of the GDP. Clear? This is the range. This is the range right now. Okay? Till your current account deficit is up to 3% of GDP, we can sustain it. How we sustain it actually? How? How do we sustain the current account deficit? We sustain current account deficit by using our foreign exchange exchange reserves, which are shortly known as forex reserves. Clear? It means according to RBI, as much forex reserve India is maintaining right now, and there are chances to inflow in future out of almost all sources, it can help India sustain a current account deficit of only up to 3%. Clear? If your current account deficit crosses this upper limit of 3%, naturally we will face economic and financial crisis. Okay? Because current account deficit becoming unsustainable leads to even BOP crisis. Clear? When a country is facing situation of higher twin deficit, it means the government is facing financial pressure on domestic front as well as external front. And this situation is not considered good. What is happening right now? India's fiscal deficit is already projected to be 6.4% for this year. On the other hand, it is predicted by experts that India's current account deficit for ongoing year might be around 3.8%. That is 0.8% over and above the sustainable level suggested by RBI. For such high level of fiscal deficit and high level of current account deficit, it means the high levels of twin deficit. Will it be comfortable for India? Will India face slowdown? Will India face recession? These are basically the speculations and you can say concerns of experts which are appearing in media on daily basis. Okay? Since European economies are headed for recession, America is headed for recession, so we are doubtful and concerned. Will India also head towards slowdown and finally recession? It means that higher fiscal deficits and higher current account deficits are very dangerous for economic system. And if a country is having both of the deficits on higher side, that is given twin deficit of a country is growing faster, it can invite economic crisis and financial crisis. Okay? So I try to give you clear idea about the concept of economics that is known as twin deficit. Okay? This is all on twin deficit. So that you are able to watch turn of the day when it appears. I will advise you to subscribe this channel and join Telegram. The link is being shared here. You can get regular updates, content and free quizzes by joining this Telegram group, IAS Abhyaas. Thank you very much for watching the session. Let's meet in the next session with a new term. Thank you very much.